Hello, Seiiti. Everybody can keep promises to themselves except you. Do you promise change, but then you never change? Do you plan the perfect life, but you're living in an average, mediocre life? Do you wake up motivated, but then you go to bed defeated every day? You have to discover what is your type of self sabotage, otherwise, you will repeat the same mistakes for the next 10 years. You see, you wake up at 8 a.m. with total energy. At 10 a.m., you still believe you're going to make everything that you need to do today. At 11, you feel it's getting a little bit late. And at 2 p.m., you already admit complete defeat. It's another loss today. You promise you will try again tomorrow, and then you repeat the same mistakes the next day. Why is that? Why can't you fulfill your own goals? Why don't you do what you promised to do today, or you wanted to do? To eat well, to avoid junk food, to go to the gym, to learn something interesting, to make investments. It's because you're living disconnected from yourself. What do you believe it is a lack of self-discipline? Actually, it's an escape of the truth of who you really are. That's what we'll talk about today. You will discover a secret. You need to interrupt a hypnosis that is making you fail at everything. That is why nothing works out for you. Every day you avoid truly looking at yourself, you're sinking deeper into a life that you yourself hate. You wake up full of good intentions. You plan the perfect routine while you're still in bed. You visualize the productive day that you're going to have. You mentally list everything you will do differently this time. But then you get up, then you grab your phone just to check the time, and you're already there scrolling for 40 minutes. You have coffee thinking about starting your diet on Monday. You sit down to work, but then you think, oh, first I have to organize your desk. You decide to exercise after lunch because you didn't have time in the morning. So you're always postponing things, right? You will do it later after dinner, but then by dinner you're full. And then you can't do it at night because tomorrow morning you have to wake up early. You might think you're doing some strategic planning, but you feel constant frustration because you can never sustain anything for more than just a couple of days. You have the feeling you're always starting from zero, always promising yourself, oh, this time it's going to be different. Even when you have good days, you can't turn these days into habits. That's why you cannot trust your promises anymore. That's why just a very simple goal like I will start drinking more water seems impossible to fulfill goal. That's why you don't even remember when was the last time that you actually did everything that you planned to do in a particular day. You see, for you, self-knowledge became making a list of goals. Planning became like a fantasy about who could you be in the future. Change became an empty promise that you repeat every day. And you never examine why. Why didn't it work? So if you recognize yourself in all that detailed profile, there is an explanation for your condition. It is not lack of discipline. It is the result of conditioning that we will understand right now to promote a change. You trained your brain to escape the truth about yourself. Think about that. For years, every time you felt discomfort looking at your real behavioral patterns, you created a story to free yourself from responsibility. Well, it happened like that because today I didn't have time. It didn't happen because I was stressed. I will try to make it tomorrow. Your nervous system is no longer being honest with yourself because being honest means experiencing pain. That's why you can't plan anymore without fantasizing. You can't evaluate your progress without deceiving, lying to yourself. You can't admit failure without creating elaborate excuses. You kind of became a specialist in deceiving yourself in very sophisticated ways. And there is a tool that can break that cycle. That's what you need. Writing, pen and paper, writing daily about your own experience. Now, this is not the famous gratitude list. This is not a diary. This is a technique that forces you to confront the reality of your patterns. This is what we call reflective writing in psychology. Every day that passes without this honest examination, you're digging deeper that hole of your own mediocrity. That is why you have to visit a link, which is arata.se planning your life. Right now, do it because you need to stop deceiving yourself before it is too late. Now, in a moment, I will be teaching you three practical reflective writing techniques for you to break that cycle of empty promises. But first, let's explain what exactly is that you are doing wrong. Everybody does one thing that you don't do, which is accepting that the process of change is boring. What is the difference between you and the other people who are able to maintain habits? It's pretty simple. They accepted that the process of change is boring, it is uncomfortable, it is not glamorous, but you need something special. Other people don't wake up excited to go to the gym, they just go. They go even without wanting to go. They don't feel the pressure of eating something that is more healthy. They just do it. They study when they're feeling tired. They eat liver when maybe they would like to eat pizza. You don't have to be on the right mood to act. Even when you have all the perfect music, the perfect environment, the perfect mood, you need to have all the conditions for your motivation. No, other people don't need that. They just go and do it. They don't need for the perfect condition. Others understand that discipline is not feeling like today is going to be special. It's just go and do it. The first few minutes of an activity will always have a little bit of friction, and that is okay. You don't have to interpret that friction as, oh, maybe today is not the right day for you to do. If you're not excited, then you don't act. That's why your activities are not moving forward. Other people treat those emotions like just pure information. They register that maybe they're not so excited, but it's okay. They just go and do it. They don't need that to move ahead. That's why you are only waiting for your habits to happen when you are inspired. And your inspiration just lasts for a few days. And then it's gone, and then you stop doing things. Other people don't depend on their feelings to move ahead and get things done. Do you understand that? So let's go and do 3 practical tips for you today to move forward. Number one, it is an autopsy of the day that you had to stop your self-sabotage. It goes like this. Every morning before you make any plan for that particular day, you will dedicate 10 minutes to analyze the previous day without mercy. Just get pen and paper, don't type, just write by hand because writing will activate different areas of your brain and will force you to do a deeper processing. You will write each commitment that you broke with yourself yesterday, the day before. You said that you would be doing exercise, but then actually you were watching television for 3 hours. You said you would eat something healthy, but then it turns out you ate junk food. Okay. For each item, you will identify the exact moment of your decision. I'm not meaning the final result, but the specific moment when you changed your plan. How were you feeling? What excuse did you create to change in that particular moment? And you will finish by asking, if I would be my own consultant, what destructive pattern would I identify here? And then you will write as if you're analyzing somebody else's behavior without being emotionally engaged. So then you can be very honest. This technique will recondition your brain to treat failure as a pure data source, not like a moment that you're feeling guilty about it. Another one is a tribunal of excuses to expose your favorite lies. You will identify an area of your life where you always promise change, but you never get it done. You will get a sheet of paper and divide it in two columns. In the left column, you will write all the excuses you're using for not acting. Oh, I just don't have time. I'm so busy. I am very stressed. I will start next Monday. Oh, today is not the ideal moment. Write 10 excuses and be very honest. Now, in the right column, for each one of your excuses, you will write the concrete evidence against it. If you said, I don't have time for exercising, now you will be doing documentation of how exactly you spent your last 48 hours. And then you will be able to say that actually you do have some time, but you did something else. You will identify what is your favorite excuse that you're always using. And then you will write, how many times have I used this excuse over the last 6 months? And then you can be very specific in that activity. And then you can finish by rewriting your excuse in a completely honest way. Well, you see, I don't exercise because I chose to do other activities that are more comfortable. That's much better than saying I don't have time. Energy versus intention. You will be tracking where you are wasting this part of your life. That's another activity. For 1 week, you will carry a small notebook, and every 2 hours, you will write down two things. What you planned to do against what you were actually planning to do within that period. So in the morning, you will write 3 main intentions. Today, I'm going to work on the project X for 2 hours. I'm going to do 30 minutes of workout, and so on. You be very specific of how much time and what activity you will do. At each check-in, you will be documenting. I planned to work on that report for 2 hours, on that project for 2 hours, but I ended up just answering emails and organizing files, doing something else for 2 hours. Don't judge, just register the data. And at the end of the week, you will calculate where you actually invested your time, your energy, versus where you said you wanted to invest your time. You said that health was a priority for you, but actually, how many hours did you invest in your health, in healthy activities? This analysis will reveal your true values in real life, in practice, not your ideal, your socially acceptable way of getting things done. Without real honesty with yourself, you are condemned to perpetual failure. When you can see your patterns objectively and you confront your excuses directly, your mind stops operating through comforting fantasies. Your relationships improve because now you become a trustworthy person, starting with trust in yourself. Your work improves because you develop real capacity for sustained execution. Each promise you keep to yourself will increase your capacity to make even bigger promises. Each excuse that you dismantle is releasing energy for real action. So it's totally worth it. Start today. Do an honest analysis of your day before, of your yesterday, right now. Identify your favorite excuse and confront it with real evidence. And stop making promises based on fantasy. Start building credibility with yourself through this uncomfortable honesty. You're only going to continue lying to yourself like that, and that's the path to having a mediocre life. Each day that passes without this brutal examination, you're digging deeper that hole of irrelevance. That's how you have to be stopping those things. Go to the link arata.se/planning your life before it is too late to stop that systemic self-deception.